we're gonna do encoder for that at some point in Alice Springs. They're gonna hook it up to that wireless net. I gave the info on it so they could do the, I just wanted you to know. Yes, I did. I was blind. Mary, how are you? Good. Classic. Thank you very much. We're closed. Hey, John. Mike. You're gonna love that one.
Oh, I think I read this. In the Seagull song. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting because it's very clear that it's
A dining experience?
well, it's two.
It's
The whole thing.
It was allowed.
Exactly. I know. I read that. I was just Did you? Yeah. It's disappointing because it's just not supposed to be happening.
All right. Got a few more minutes. So hopefully Chris will be here, otherwise, otherwise we'll go straight, yeah.
Wendy was asking for some help
For the abatement, yeah, we have some material in the packet.
I sent some over to from the guys in Turner
Oh, good.
regularly, so I'm just waiting to get back to them. So,
That's good.
just want to let them know.
So he was gonna come in here and talk about it too,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But that's great. I mean, I'm all for, you know, especially with what we're doing, and
Yeah.
taking our time and doing it right.
Exactly. Save some money.
Oh, sorry.
It's close here already.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order for Tuesday, August 22nd of the Newfield Select Board. First up is Chris Fishless, but he's not here. Also Lynn Freeman, who was not here. But Jeff Buxton, you are.
Hey, didn't hear on time, right?
It does. You're up. Fire truck. What do you got?
Couple things I want to talk about. One is fire truck. Two is, we'll go into that a little bit later. So we've spent probably, 6 months here right now on working on specs and started the process of the fire truck. And we were talking the other day with the legislature, so we're just saying, is this something that the selectmen, would entertain or plan on putting it on the warrant article for this year? It's, only reason why I say that, it's a lot of work. It's not only just a lot of work for us, it's a lot of work for all the the people we have doing the specs and proposals on this. It's gonna be a lot of money, all right, we're way out there. We've currently got 2 proposals back, not with any set pricing yet. We're waiting for 2 more proposals. One that we do have some preliminary pricing on is already been deposited in the round file because it's too expensive. It's well over $900,000. I went back around to 8. We've got 2 more coming in, probably over the next month. I think one is going to be probably in the same $800,000 range, and I'm hoping another one's going to come in considerably amount lower. Now, I don't know what that amount is yet. We just found out that the guy who owned, the last 2 trucks we bought were Ferraris. He sold out 5 years ago to the Rev Group, which is a big conglomerate. They own like 5 fire truck manufacturers. So he just started, as of 9 months ago, remanufacturing fire trucks because he can, because he had a 5-year deal. And he seems to be starting his business like he was before, you know, building a really good quality fire truck at a reasonable price and reasonable deliveries. One of the biggest issues right now is all deliveries, okay? So Pierce came in at 28 months. Ferraro, which we bought in the past, which is now part of the Group, came in 24 to 26 months. Another company, Toynes, coming in at 20 to 22 months. We haven't got anything from this new one, which is called US Fire Apparatus. I don't know on that. The issue is that we're going to have in the neighborhood of 550, between 550 and $600,000 in 2 years. If we continue doing what we're doing now. So what most all the manufacturers are saying is people are going with, they're going to put that money down and they're going to go with a lease purchase of the rest. He says, no manufacturer will give us a completely set price right now because they just can't do it. They did it, they all get screwed because they did it, and they won't. They'll give you a roundabout ballpark of everything it's going to be. It could be less. Most likely it's not going to be more. What I'm saying is right now, it's still a lot of work left. We've done a lot of work on this, and it's not that don't want to do this, but it's something that may not be presented this year. In fairness to the manufacturers, in fairness to us, we're not spending a lot more time on this. There's a lot of talk about a lot of monies.
There's a lot of big dollars being around town
So
on a lot of levels.
again, but I'm not recommending that. Obviously, we're behind on the purchase of the truck. That truck, in the ones we're going to replace in 2 years from now will be, 30 plus and 39 years old. As you probably noticed last year, we had our maintenance expenses were getting higher.
Yep.
So something to think about.
So-
I don't have an answer now. Something to think about.
So you're looking at, let me just see if I understand what you're asking. A warrant article that would have us basically take the existing money, make a down payment for a truck that we would get in 2 years, ballpark. And once we get it, we complete the payment via a lease. Over how many years would that be?
That would be up to you. I mean, it's, a lot of people are going like 7 to 10 years on a lease purchase, but this isn't, they're doing the full amount, they're doing that too. So we're only going to, say only, it's going to be, I'm going to guess it's going to be between 150 and 200,000. Hopefully.
Will be the gap.
Yeah, would be the gap. So that would
Okay.
be understandable.
So your question is, or what you want us to think about is, would we support a warrant article that basically would affect that type of transaction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And the second thing is,
Wait, before you move on,
Okay. Okay.
I've asked my question, let these guys go.
What's in the account now, Jeff?
440, something like that. It's done very poorly over the last few years, but it has had some movement. I think it's about 440, and we haven't, I don't believe we just put this year's money in that. It should be.
So it'll be close to 5.
I think it's gonna be right across the 470, so, you know, if we're talking 2 years, you know, the 50 or 60 each year is another 120 into it, you know, you're gonna be up in the $600,000 range.
When the lease will kick in. For whatever reason.
Right, and understandable that, two of the manufacturers, we would get a considerable discount if we paid up front $500,000 and use our money. Two of the other larger ones, they won't even entertain that, so.
Mhm.
Probably, you know, I can probably come back in October and probably hopefully have some better figures for you.
Okay,
And, you know, issues, you know, I'm kind of hoping this last one to come in with the US fire apparatus, they're going to be pretty reasonable. So, we're talking on the phone today, it sounds like it would, so we'll see.
And that 20 to 28 month window, that's fabrication time. Does that include everything, or is there any additional?
The issue right now is lead times on stuff, so.
Yeah.
Normal fabrication on a fire truck is, you're talking about 8 to 9 months. You know, once they get everything, it'll be 8 to 9 months. The US fire apparatus, their deliveries are considerably less, but they're still over a year. You know, so, it's just lead times on a lot of electronics and stuff like that.
So the truck would be fully outfitted with everything, we wouldn't be piecemealing anything else in for the truck, we would have
No,
ready to go in that
it'll be
time.
ready to go.
Okay.
anything else? All right,
Second thing is, we've been doing some unofficial talks with the market. We actually have a meeting on the 29th of this month, looking at assisting each other a little bit more than we do. They're having issues, the same issues we're having with the personnel. We talked a couple of weeks ago about it, kind of throwing in a trial. It's been okay. I mean, we've gone over there 5 or 6 times, we've only come over once. But we're looking at, I can have more information after we have the meeting, but it's, you know, there's no cost associated with anything like that. But they're looking at, they know that we're really weak during the day and we're pretty good at night. They seem to be pretty good during the day and they've been very weak at night. So they're looking at, you know, have each other help each other out. We can always be canceled, they'll always cancel us. I think it's a great idea, but once we get the particulars down, I'll come back to you guys just to make sure you're okay with it. We're both trying.
well, any solution that alleviates the, you know, the impending doom is always a good one.
It's coming. It's coming, it's coming. Hopefully, none of us here have to do it, but it's coming.
All right,
Membership, we've had some expressed interest over the past couple of months. I got one new member, Rob Smith, he's retired, a police officer in town, he just retired, he's joined.
okay,
We've had 4 or 5 other people call up, I've sent them applications and background checks, and haven't seen anything from them, so.
okay. Anything else? Any other questions?
How is this new market thing different from the mutual aid agreement?
It's actually the same thing. It's part of the mutual aid agreement, but instead of us requesting or them requesting, we're going to get Tony to do it. Okay, so.
It's more of a, say, a mutual response.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of towns doing that. Epping, Brentwood do it together, Brentwood, Kingston do it together, and Epping and Lee do it together, you know, because they're all full-time, but they will get a couple of guys on. So it's part of the mutual aid. You know, there's no, everybody's covered under their own insurance umbrellas. It's just, it's going to be, instead of us requesting, then it's going to be kind of the same thing.
Anything else, Chief? No? All right.
Good, that's it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate it. Going back to Chris. Chris, how are you, Chris?
Good.
Good. So, as you know, there have been numerous meetings and discussions with our legal counsel and understanding really what we are allowed and not allowed to do. We've had numerous discussions at the board level about what we might do with respect to the abatement for the property. Just as a review, Chris owns a property up on Oldley.
Halls Mill.
At the end of Halls Mill, I'm sorry, the next road over. At the end of Halls Mill, the assumption was that it was a buildable lot, and for 16 years or so, the town assessed it as a buildable lot. When Chris came before the planning board, discussion at the planning board, it was determined that actually this wasn't a buildable lot. It was assumed a buildable lot because of basically the transactions, and when Chris acquired it, when Falzone basically was looking at a conservation development. It followed on a conservation development, but because the road was never built, because the frontage was never adjusted, it's not a buildable lot. And so Chris came and asked the town about this, and the board has been contemplating for the last couple of months about possible abatement. Back to Chris, recognizing that this was an oversight by a lot of parties, certainly our assessor, the town. I mean, you never noticed it, nobody ever noticed it, so we've been contemplating what to do. And for the last meeting, we thought that we'd just have you in here. I think the board members would want to talk about it with you directly.
Chris Hobiarm, anything you want to add to that or embellish or shed more knowledge on what transpired?
Not really. I mean, I just don't know who, is it the town or was it the assessor at the time? Is it the same assessor that it was 16 years ago that the town used?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I guess Sue would probably have the best idea about that. I don't know the answer to that, Chris. I don't know the answer to that. Regardless whether it was the same assessor or a different one, I mean, I'll be honest, our existing assessor didn't notice it either, right? It just only came to light when you came before the planning board thinking that you could build on the lot, and it was determined that this is actually not a buildable lot. So, I mean, I don't know the answer to the question directly, but I don't think at this point it really matters because you've been overcharged for 16 years.
That was really it. I just wasn't sure, because I've been told different things, that it's the town, but no, it's not the town. It's the assessor. It was his liability back in 2006 when that occurred, that this kind of falls on this, so that was my question. Other than that, I think there really isn't.
Any questions from you?
No.
Anything else? All right. Well, we've had a lot of time to mull this over. My opinion, or at least I'm going to make a motion here that the town look to basically reimburse the overpaid amounts for the last 3 years. I mean, look, clearly there's about $37,000 of overpayment here. I don't think the town can afford to cover that, but I think it's important that we at least do something here. I think it's appropriate. And I prefer to do right by that. The 3 years, as I calculate, the last 3 years of overpayment total $5,993.27. It's approximately $2,000 a year over the time frame. I think that's right. I mean, if anybody has a different, that's 1,500. That's about 2,000. So yeah, it's about 2,000 a year for the last 3 years. So I'll make a motion that the town basically abate that amount of money in recognition that this is a very extenuating circumstance and very unique circumstance. But I'll leave that motion on the table for discussion. Any comments?
Yeah,
Contemplated.
I am in favor.
All right. contemplate away. Do you want to just leave it on the table and we'll do other business and get back to it? Or do you guys want to take a moment and contemplate and then comment? I don't care either way.
Let's table it for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hang on that. All right, so that motion's on the table. We'll leave it there right now. Wayne is not here, correct? Okay. So we'll move on to some other business. Oil bids. We've been deferring the oil bid. We have not opened Palmer's bid here. Did we get this bid from Favorite Fuels?
Yes. the paper-
So, yeah, it says I would like to offer a 15-cent discounted rate off my current daily rate at the time of delivery. So that is basically saying we get a 15-cent discount, but no fixed price. All right, and I'll open the Palmer bid right now. The Palmer offer is a fixed price via automatic delivery of $3.09 and 9/10 of a cent, so $3.099.
For 7 months.
Yeah, and this proposal is no longer valid because we waited, it was valid through August 3rd. So we're going to have to go back and ask for new bids.
Okay.
It's just the way it is. All right, so that's it.
Nobody responded.
I know, just for the audience, we put this out, we actually only received one bid. Typically for something like this, we require 3 bids. We re-asked people to submit, still didn't get submission, finally got this one, but obviously the expiration of the Palmer, we'll have to go back and put it out for bid.
So, so we went out for bid, there wasn't a lot of
Interest?
information, I'll say, with regards to what exactly we're looking for, and I think that might have been caused as far as dates, times, deliveries, and again, maybe these are companies that we go out to every year, maybe they already know what that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
in all prior years, we've received typically three bids, basically from the major suppliers around here, Lamprey, Hartman, Palmer.
Sold, right?
Was that?
You were Hartman sold.
Yeah, Hartman just sold.
I spoke to Martin a couple weeks ago, they were supposed to send a bid.
Yep.
And I think it came by, they called, they're supposed to see.
Yeah, again, it might have been related to the timing of the sale too, and what they were or were not doing.
So one of the things that I typically do when I'm going out to bid at work is I just have a bid form. Sometimes it's just easier to have them fill the form out and send it back in. And this way, even if they're not serious about a bid, we get 3 bids. We'll get a number. We'll have a number come in. So maybe that's something we can put together. We have to put something together for that.
Sure.
Give you a hand.
We'll put you on that then.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, we'll go back up for the bids. We'll see what we can get. Next item on the agenda, fall cleanup day. Our cleanup has moved to the fall. Any dates that were indicated as a preference, Keisha?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Fall cleanup?
No, I know we usually have it sometime around, in October, around Exeter's fall cleanup. Or not the fall, Casper's weeks.
Yeah,
So,
do we know what days that? I don't
think
even care.
it's the second week or something like that.
Of October?
No.
How about we do it on the 21st?
14th or something.
I'll propose October 21st, Saturday, October 21st. Anybody have a problem with that? All right. All right, we'll go with Saturday, October 21st. Will be fall cleanup day. We'll post that and everybody can bring all their stuff. Trick or treat day, while we're on dates. October 31st this year is on a Tuesday. Traditional holiday. Anybody have any comments, questions about that date? I know last year we moved it to a different day. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think, because we were doing, for a lot of years, did the day before.
So, in some of the prior years, we actually left it on the 31st.
Yeah.
Some of the prior years, it was moved to a weekend day as a preference than a midweek day.
Right.
Or typically on a Monday or Friday, they move it.
Okay.
But, you know, this is an ongoing question in town.
Yeah.
Some people prefer it moved, I prefer it on the 31st.
Chief, what do you think as far as safety, safety-wise, getting people?
Here, have a loaded gun.
In full orders in there, no matter what I come up with, someone's not gonna be happy. I refer to the board, I don't know what the history is here in town.
It's a mixed bag.
Last year, we were lucky that they fell on a Sunday, obviously this year, it's either, unless we go on the 29th, but, last year was Sunday, obviously, the traffic's heavy on Monday or Tuesday, because of commuter traffic, but I refer to the board, just because of history. I don't know what traditionally the town has done, so, I leave the professionals there.
You're on a professional. You're about as professional here as you get.
That's a good 40 and back, Chief, thanks. But, I mean, I'm fine with it on the 31st, because I think moving it back to the weekend is probably too many days. We're one day off. That would probably be okay, but I think moving it a couple days backwards or forwards or what have you, I think it's just going to kind of throw everything off a little bit and we'll get inundated. So I think I would make a motion to just keep it on the 31st.
Okay. Opposed?
I'll second that.
Oh, great. All in favor?
All right.
Unanimous. Great. How many will be on
Question,
the-
Michael?
Yep.
What times? Because that's what people ask.
Yes. Typically, I thought we did what, 4 to 6?
5 to 7.
5 to
Oh,
7?
did they move it?
We moved it. We moved it to later. Yeah, we moved it to 5 to 7.
5 to 7?
Yeah,
And that seemed to work pretty well?
yeah.
You didn't have a problem with that last year? No. Okay. Let's move it on 5 to 7.
Okay.
I mean, if it needs to be changed, we'll change it, but let's document that, post it, and we can always inform them all. Okay, great. Thank you. Next up, Partikian correspondence. This is just noting, we received a complaint about lighting on Piscassic Road. We had the chief and the police department look into it. They did not find that the lighting was creating any problems with night driving, which was a question that was raised. And based upon that, we responded back to Mr. Partikian about the findings of the police. Any other comments or notations about that? No. Great. All right, duly noted. Hilton property. All right. So, as everyone is probably aware, the descendants of the Hiltons have put the Hilton property up for sale. The sale comprises the 3.5 acre parcel where the house resides. It does not include the field. There is a preservation agreement as part of that. The town requested a copy of that and we circulated it to the board members to review. There's a lot of restrictions on what you can do with the property. You really can't do any changes on the original main floor. Changes are mostly restricted to the back portion of the property. Cannot subdivide the property. So there are a lot of limitations about what can be done with it. The sale price, I believe, is $575,000. There's been several people who have approached me in town asking about whether the town would be interested in acquiring the property. From the town's perspective, if the town were going to do this, it has to come before the town body, either in the form of a warrant article or in the form of a special meeting of town, neither of which that we have as of yet. This discussion is really one to obviously allow the board to comment on it, take input from the people in town, and raise this as an issue of one that everyone needs to consider. So with that, I will open up for comments from the other board members, and then maybe we'll grab some comments from people in town.
I'm amenable to hearing from the town first. I'm really impressed with this piece of property, and I think it's things have incredible historic value. So I'll defer for the moment, if I might, your input.
Sure. Mike, any comments you want to make before we open it up?
No, let's open it up.
All right, anybody in town? John?
Yeah. Couldn't help but notice the sign as soon as it went up, and that prompted me to send the board an email, which I maybe have a copy of. I was unaware of the size of the parcel of land. It was curious to me that they had the restrictions that they had. Not surprising, but I guess if the town were to acquire the property, I guess I would question whether or not there's any sort of flexibility for the family to amend that easement, in particular to potentially allow for access from 85 to the property that's to the rear of the firehouse, which abuts the school property. Could it be useful in some way if they were able to do that? They may not be able to. I don't know how that works with those documents that have been put in place. But I do also concur with the thoughts of Mike in particular, and I think perhaps other board members, in that if the town were able to acquire the house on 3 acres, it would certainly be really beneficial to the community if we could acquire the field as well, to be able to have it and continue to use it. And I do think that the house holds some very significant historic characteristics for the town. I would hope that we'll be able to somehow maintain over time also.
Let me just say one item with respect to the issues that you raised. So the preservation agreement was entered into by the sellers as the grantor, and the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance is actually the grantee. So it would not only be the sellers, but it would also have to be the Preservation Alliance, who actually technically owns that preservation agreement, or at least controls it, that we would have to address and see if they would be willing to make amendments to that. So as much as it may be the sellers, it may be more difficult. Not impossible, obviously, changes happen, but I just want to make sure the general public understands what the issues are with respect to that.
I think the other concern is that the amount of time it would take us to get the money together if the sellers are going to wait for that amount of time too. That's kind of out of our hands. I mean, we'd have to definitely do that as well.
But why is it that? If you contact the realtor, I would think that they would be very interested in how long this piece of property.
So along those lines, I've reached out to the sellers to ask them about their thoughts about the town acquiring the property. I haven't heard back yet. I called, sent an email 2 weeks ago, and Mortimer, to ask that specific question, whether they had some thoughts about whether they would like or not like the town. What's that? I haven't asked the realtor that directly. I mean, the sellers have been very generous to the town, and they've communicated well with the town. I would prefer to hear directly from them than necessarily go through.
Well, I may say that because he said he's shown quite a few. They've had quite a few shown.
Oh, I was only aware of one. I didn't know. I don't know if
He said I think he said 4, and he had 2 lined up.
In terms of the timing, though, again, this is really a question for the town, which is if the town is serious about it, what we would end up doing, more likely than waiting for March and a warrant article, is hold a special meeting of the town, have a vote of the town, and allow the town to decide whether they wanted to acquire this property. And then it would be a question for the sellers to, if we were to make an offer, probably the purchase and sale agreement would recognize that it would take at least a little while for the town to finalize that, go through the legal and everything else. So it's possible,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's gonna require the town to do that sooner rather than later.
I'm with John on that too. I just think, you know, it's almost like they're leaving the opportunity for the town to buy and get the field, because why would you put the field for sale? I mean, that they, you know, Mary may know more than we know, but.
Mary, do you have anything to
You know,
add? This, yeah, I mean, you probably have more knowledge
it's
about
just, you
this.
know, why wouldn't you sell the field too, you know? I know the town uses it a lot, but, I think it's nowhere. I think town should own that piece of property.
They want to keep the field for a little, so they can keep a little bit of the fields.
Yeah, okay.
But the place does need a lot of work.
Expand on that, Mary.
Yeah.
Mary, expand on that.
Well, there was extensive work 30 years ago, and almost all of it needs to be done. The floorboards are,
Coming.
the wallpaper's falling off, so, you know, and the horsehair plaster's falling off. And you can't really, I don't know how that did, I mean, you have to fix it, but you have to fix it.
Back to that way, at least for the first floor.
Right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when they refurbished the beehive, the fireplaces, they used all new bricks, so it was horrendous. But the old fireplaces is still in there. There's no heat. It's all.
No insulation, no heat, and 100 amp service.
Yeah. But Emily did look into it, and she's pretty sure that that was a Garrison.
That was a Garrison?
Yeah.
Yeah, not surprising, right?
That would explain the shutters on the inside.
On the inside.
And hole behind the chimney.
Yep.
She's got other stuff too, but I don't remember what she said. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Have you had any discussions with the Preservation Alliance about any of this at all? Okay, I didn't think so, but I thought I'd ask.
No, I was there when they went through it, and they were all very excited about it.
Mhm.
They've never, house that's private land, not in a museum, is
Right.
that well preserved. I'm just worried that if the town takes it over, I'm stepping on a few toes here, but
Step all you want, Mary.
I mean, my grandfather took care of the house, my mother took care of the house, and now I take care of the house. I hate to see for it to end up like the room in the library, where it was supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be set up like
The Paul sisters?
bodies.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then everything is gone that I know of. It's out of that room. And I would hate for that to happen to anyone.
The only thing I'd offer that, Mary, is the grantee, when you read through the easement itself and the exchange, it looks like there have been or would be pretty strenuous on enforcing and maintaining the way the structure is at this time, both in the total footprint, not just the physical plan, but as it sits. And I think there's probably a way to enforce that, to make sure that it doesn't degrade over durations.
Let me throw my 2 cents in here, which is, I have no idea who's going to be sitting on this board 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Have no idea who's going to be running the Preservation Alliance 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We just dealt with this stone wall easement issue that we just, in my opinion, ignored the wishes of the grantor of that easement, and now it's done. So as much as you can say that this is a preservation easement, I think Mary's exactly right, which is this is always a very difficult thing to ensure because you have no idea who's going to be sitting in the seats of decisions in the future.
Well, there's only 2 things that are certain for life, Michael, right? Taxes and debt, but I mean, the point is you can draft it and set it as best you can, relying on those documents in the good faith of the people that come there.
I don't disagree with you, but this was the very issue that I raised when we were talking about the stone wall agreement, which was you have a Department of Justice and a Charitable Trust Division that seems very cavalier. As I mentioned in the last meeting, they were cavalier about the Hackett Trust. I think they're cavalier about the stone wall agreement. I don't trust any of them, and we can sit here and say, oh, no, this is well written. I think that is a facetious argument that, in my opinion, should be ignored because, to Mary's point, you don't know. Now, that being said, I have no idea if somebody else who buys that property and owns it as a private property, what are they going to do behind closed doors, right? Same problem.
It is the same problem. The only thing I would add to what you're saying is exactly the point that Mary was making with regard to the library and frankly, your point, Michael, with regard to change in people. So for the longest time in the library, folks understood, what the wishes of the will was from the walls to the town, with regard to the library and room in particular, and then as subsequent folks came along and trustees changed and different interpretations of what the meaning of it was became what is, that's how those things morph. And, you're right, it's hard, whether it's the town or if it's a private individual, it's going to be difficult to ensure that it stays the way it is unless somehow we work.
Would the National Registry preclude a lot of it?
Maybe, it's not on it.
Because, no, that it's eligible, John, it's eligible for it, and it's very eligible for it, according to the document.
I think.
We're also looking into getting the Hilton family, descendants of the Hiltons. Maybe they could buy the house, we could buy the house, and then that could be.
The other descendants who are interested in buying the house. Is that what you're saying?
No, Emily was listening to a podcast, and I guess something came up like this, and they just a whole bunch of descendants got a nonprofit organization together of this certain person, and they bought the house, the property. So she was wondering if we could do that.
I mean, I see what you were referencing as a threat, but I don't think it's insurmountable. At least as far as, if you go, it's a threat, and who knows what's going to happen to Paul Library or the stone wall, but that doesn't mean you still don't attack the problem and look for a solution or resolution.
Look, I don't disagree with you. The preservation easement is written well, and it's written to the point where it's restricting any changes to that main floor, restricting subdivision of the property. But at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know who's going to be sitting there, and we don't know what decisions are going to be made.
Well, plus, the town wants to buy the land, rough land. The town needs a new fire truck. You can't spend enough money on a house.
Carry the six. It's getting to be a big number. Which, by the way, is probably, which I think will boil down to really what we need to do, which is, I'm going to make a motion that we schedule a special town meeting to discuss the Hilton purchase, the possible Hilton purchase by the town. When's our next select board meeting? Is it the 5th, the 12th?
12 and 26, I think.
Yeah, 12
I
and
mean,
26.
You guys aren't around to really sit down?
No, I'm here 12, 19, and 26.
Because I think we got to do this sooner rather than later, especially if, to your point, there's already been 4 showings of this. What about the 7th?
I'm out of town from the 5th to the 9th.
I'm
Come
good.
back sooner.
I'm good on the 7th.
Well, we can do the 11th, have our meeting on the 12th. Are you around the 11th?
Yes.
You were on the 11th? All right. I'll make a motion to schedule a special town meeting to discuss the possible acquisition of the Hilton Manse by the town of Newfields for September 11th at 7 o'clock. Here in Town Hall.
What kind, before we move or act on that, what kind of preparation are we going to do before that meeting, as far as liaison?
I think we'll continue to reach out. Hopefully we'll get a response back from the sellers. We certainly will get additional information beforehand. We'll have, obviously we have the preservation agreement. Maybe we can, before then, also request a showing of the property for the board. Before that meeting. Might get some.
You see my car?
What's that?
Anytime you see my car.
Just drop by.
Yep.
But I'm not sure what else we can do. I mean, I don't expect anybody from the sellers to be here. This is really a question for the town as to the dollars involved and the nature of the property more than anything else.
Additional questions on that. Is anybody cognizant of anybody that's dealt with the National Registry for historic places?
I'll say this, if you want it to get expensive, bring the National Registry in.
I'm talking late for subsequent protection of the property.
Yeah, and the cost to maintain that will go up. What's that?
Certain standards to be.
Correct, without a doubt in my mind.
And
And I get the point about, well, you have another authority to preserve it. But at the end of the day, the preservation is going to fall under the preservation agreement more than anything else.
And which led me to my next point about availability of grants and resources to assist in the process.
I think that we'll need to look into that before that meeting. I'm unaware of any, but
I can ask Emily if she might know. My dog.
I'm certain that question will get asked at the meeting, no doubt.
Well, I'll make sure she's here.
Right.
When you're dealing with the sellers, not talking about, you said you haven't heard back from them. If the town is interested in buying this property, acquiring it, maybe it's one of the things it might be that they could use it like they do now on their way to their other place.
Somebody had actually mentioned that to me, Rick, and certainly in our discussions, if the town is interested in it, I think that's certainly an offer there. I think depending on the town decision about whether we will pursue this and commit dollars to make an offer for the property or not, I mean, one of the things that I'd also like to ask them is, to your point, would they be willing to include the field with the property if the town's going to require it? Maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. I think it's worth asking and inquiring about that. So I think there's a variety of things that we can talk about. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to, does the town want to spend the 6 figures required to acquire the property? Any other comments, questions? No?
Everything good?
Yeah.
I'll
All right.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mike. I have a second for the motion on the table. All in favor? Aye. Great. All right. Put it on your calendar. That'll be well attended. All right. Let me go back before we do anything else. So let's go back to the first list. Comments, questions, discussion. What do you guys want to do?
So going back to the direction that we got from council on what we were able to do, basically it was leaving it up to us, right?
We have flexibility and authority to provide any kind of abatement that we so choose.
Right.
The restrictions are really we're not required if certain things. In other words, it's easier for us to say no, but we have the authority to say yes.
And funding for this will not affect the tax rate.
Well, so this would not impact the operating budget, okay? Which means that, our current operating budget has us spending, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't, something on the order of $1.8 million this year in operating funds. 1.8, something like that. This does not count against the 1.85 million. So what that means is as our departments spend money, and we get closer and closer to that number, this 6,000 doesn't limit our departments from spending $6,000. This comes out of the abatement line, which is the adjustment to our calculation of the tax rate at the end of the year. So it does not affect our operating expenditures in town, which in my opinion is important because it is an absolute no-no to go over that number. And this won't affect it. But it will affect the tax rate. Abatements get adjusted at the end of the year to affect the tax rate.
But then we can always adjust that.
Yes, again, you have the ability to use a portion of the undesignated reserve balance to adjust your December tax rate as we do every year.
How many years was it?
What's that?
2006.
It was, it was 2006 for a total of 36,945.
Right.
I'm proposing 3 years at 5,993, it's 2,700. Absolutely, John, certainly, I'm more than happy to take comments from the public on this, as this is a unique situation.
My memory's not great when it goes back that far, but I know that being on the planning board at the time, the subdivision was fully approved. What I can't remember is the time frame between the subdivision approval and when the land actually sold for conservation. Was there a gap? Does anyone know? Was it?
I'm trying to remember, because I looked at the date, so I believe the subdivision was approved. I want to say 3 or 4 months after the subdivision was approved. I believe I saw the deed filed from Falzone, transferring from Falzone to the Chrysalises. In other words, they kind of bought that lot after the subdivision was approved. After that, though, the following March, the town passed the warrant article to basically purchase the Falzone property. But Falzone had conveyed that lot already.
So the deed is most likely what triggered the assessor to make a change with regard to
To a buildable lot, because at the time, the initial assessment.
It was an approved subdivision.
Correct, it was an approved subdivision, it was an approved subdivision lot, it was a buildable lot at the time that they acquired it.
I was just trying to.
But with the transfer of the rest of the land and the fact that the road was never built, because of the lot size now and the frontage, because it was no longer part of a conservation development, the lot size didn't comply and the road frontage was inadequate, which at the planning board was determined this isn't a buildable lot. And so I think that was the sequence of events, which is very logical, and it made sense for everybody doing the transactions at the time. But when the Falzone property transferred to the Piscasset Greenway, that no longer became a buildable lot.
And that didn't get picked up.
Wasn't picked up. Right? The assessor just said, oh yeah, this is a buildable lot, and rolling forward, it was determined to be a buildable lot. I'm pretty sure that was the sequence of events. Other questions or comments? Look, if you guys want to defer this again, we can defer this again. Chris, I know you've come in and you've been incredibly patient, and I appreciate that. I mean, do you have a problem if we defer this until? No. Okay. Do you guys want to defer?
Yeah.
That's a yes. Okay.
So when would that be?
The next meeting, which is September 12th. You're not required to be here, but if you're here, great. Thank you for your patience, Chris. I really appreciate it. All right, Wayne is still on here? All right, we have an abatement. Map 204, lot 4, map 209, lot 4. We've abated the amount of $9 for the year 2023. This is an abatement from a request from Sue McKinnon. Any questions about the abatement of $9?
No, that's easy.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
$9.
What's that?
Say $9.
$9. $9. And, you know, stuff like that is typically just a math error occurred somewhere, calculation error. All right, next up, stone wall removal agreement. This was voted on at the last meeting. The amendment was made that was requested. That under section 2, the vernon shall not remove any portion of the stone wall beyond what is necessary to construct a relocated driveway as described in the permit. As part of discontinuing use of the existing driveway, the vernon shall rebuild the stone wall across the area where the existing driveway is located.
I have an issue with this. This is not the language that I agreed to when we voted. The language that I agreed to was that the stone wall that was being rebuilt would be in the same style and manner as the stone wall that exists. We have a track record of things being said they'll be done and not being done, and without there, I will not support this.
All right, then I suggest then you reach out to town council and raise the issue of the language with them.
What was the exact language you proposed, Michael? I don't remember.
I do not. You'll have to go back through, hopefully it was discussed in the minutes. You can piece together some language and talk. I would just talk to Derek about what you think the intention is, and he can work with it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I forgot 3 Hilton Ave before you, I just realized it. So, we received a letter from Seacoast Tree Care. The letter reads, to whom it may concern, I've inspected a maple tree located on city property at the rear of 3 Hilton Avenue, which is the intersection here of Route 85 Pleasant Street and Route 85 and Pleasant Street. At the time of the inspection, the owner of the property on Hilton Ave, Richard Burke, was unaware that this tree was on city property and had requested the inspection because he thought that the tree was declining and could perhaps be a hazard. I performed a level 1 inspection, which is a visual inspection and rubber mallet sounding test. Visually, the tree has trunk decay and has previous branch failures. The location of this tree is in close proximity to a structure and a proposed garage. The tree's location, defects, and health condition pose an unreasonable risk and should be removed. And they said we can contact them. So we just received this. You have the information in front of you. I actually went down to look at the property today based upon this written request. My concern here is one, clearly the maple, I didn't realize that property extended that close to the house. The maple is, I think, clearly on town property. And the maple is the one, if you're looking at that property, you see the 124A designation, you see the maple to the, just to the left of that, 280 degrees to left, that's the maple in question. So in looking at this though, the issue, as much as it is, yes, there's a structure involved, it appears to me that while there's an indication of a shed on their property, the existing shed is not that small, it's actually much larger, and I believe it actually sits on the town property. I also believe that their fire pit, given its location with respect to that tree, and in measuring out the distances along Pleasant Street, the fire pit looks to be in town property. So, as much as this is an issue for the town to address the tree, we need to probably address the fact that the shed and the fire pit may actually be on town property. So my suggestion is, before we make any decision about this, is that we request that the property owners come in here to discuss this. And in the meantime, it may be worthwhile for us to take more specific measurements along Pleasant Street to better identify and see if my measurements are correct. I don't think I'm that far off. There was a good 8 to 10 feet of leeway and that shed was entirely on our property, I believe. So, which is going to have to be addressed in one way, shape, or form. Whether it's an agreement with the town about it, or whether we ask them to move this, it has to be done. You can't leave that open-ended in terms of town property. So I'll make a motion that we request Richard Burke come in order to address this matter. Second by Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Is there, did you incur any shoreline points on that one?
Anyway,
Shoreline.
I did not, I was not inclined to basically walk on the property. It was early in the morning. I didn't want to do that. You know, that's a cleared area. They're obviously considering it part of their backyard, which is fine. It certainly appears that they're mowing it, not us. But at the same time, I didn't want to trounce around in the backyard that early.
I went and looked at that this morning, this afternoon as well, and I concur with your assessment.
Yeah, you know, this plan, which is dated, I don't even know what date is on this plan. I don't see one. I mean, it's fairly old, and that shed is not the shed that exists there now, so anyways, we'll have them in, we'll have a discussion. Next up, MS 535. So the MS 535 is basically our report for the fiscal year ended December 2022. Basically reporting our expenditures. You can see there, our appropriation, I'm sorry, was 1875, not 185. That was close. So this shows the voted appropriations of $1,875,099. Our actual expenditures, oh, wait a minute, that's adjusted for the county and these other expenditures. Anyways, this is our 535. I'd have to go back and look. All those adjustments get made. But we need to sign off on the MS 535. Total expenditures are at the back, which includes the county and schools, which total way too much. Revenues. Yeah, 7.125 million. So I'll make a motion to approve the MS 535.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, our meeting minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes. First one is for Select Board for Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. I did not attend this meeting, so I leave it to you two to edit or approve.
I already got both of these on fine.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I have a motion to accept Tuesday, July 25th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Tuesday.
Thank you. And then we have Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, the meeting of the Select Board. Any questions, concerns, edits? I mean, this was a rather long meeting. Hopefully you had a chance to review. By the way, nice job covering all of the discussion. It was very extensive, Keisha.
Make a motion to accept.
Motion from Mike to accept the meetings.
Second.
Second by Hobie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you for that. Let's see here. Two other items here. Vernon Family Farm signage. Hobie, you wanted to raise some issues on that?
We have had the discussion for ongoing weeks now. We had an original complaint come through on the signage. We subsequently received a letter from Vernon Family Farm saying that they had removed the sandwich board sign and that they were now in compliance. Subsequently, we received numerous photographs and personal observation that the sandwich board sign is back in place. And that, as per the minutes we just reviewed at the last select board meeting, Jeremiah's position was that other people were doing it, so he was going to do it, and it didn't matter what had transpired. If we look back to the history of the sign issue at Vernon Family Farm, it goes back to 21 April 18, May 15, June 15, July 15, July 15, 18 July, March 22, where they agreed to comply with all the sign ordinances in town. They have failed to do so on every situation. I mentioned to them at the last select board meeting, not only did they have two signs in place, the sandwich board sign, which is contrary to not only the DOT driveway cut, which prohibits any and all signs permanent or temporary, but also it violated the conditions of the town ordinance as far as signage. Jerry's Miners' response, because the sign he has now hanging is over 8 feet. We're allowed to have in town one 6 square foot sign. And I mentioned to Jeremiah, I said, these are the ordinances in town. If you care not, if you don't like the ordinances, get the ordinance changed, but until which time we receive the complaint from the citizen in town, we have to address it. His response was, I'm not going to comment on that. So we continue to see the total ignoring of the town ordinance. So we talked to council, and that's the background I've got. Michael, you want to move from there?
No, any comments from Mike with respect to the signage issue?
I think we just handle this like any other ordinance that's been violated.
Okay. I guess at this point in time, do you have a recommendation in terms of action that you would like to take?
I'd make a motion that we send notice to them that they're in violation of town ordinance and need for compliance.
All right, then, motion on the table. I would suggest that we have legal counsel draft a formal notice of violation then. Motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We will, I'll reach out to town, or do you want to reach out? Doesn't matter. No, no.
I got Dr. Derek on that.
Great. Okay. And I will have you do that. Great. One other, I just want to make a mention. Do you guys have any other outstanding issues you want to raise?
Do you want to do a complaint from?
Oh, yeah. We'll note this. We received a written complaint related to signage for the Rugg property. We should probably send notice. Do you want to just draft a notice to send to Derek indicating that it was, a complaint was filed, determination was made that the sign is in violation, and he needs to remove it?
Okay.
Give him the opportunity to do that. Obviously, if he doesn't comply, then we'll have to head down the same road.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other? So the Lamprey Rivers Advisory Committee, which with the Piscassic River running here through town, we have a representative on that board. They're looking for additional people to be members of the committee. I just mentioned this for the general public. Anybody who's interested in basically the Lamprey River watershed and preservation, The Rivers Advisory Committee is looking for people to do that, so I'm just making mention of it today. Public service is a wonderful thing. Hopefully, people will partake. Any other matters come before the board? No? All right, I will make, oh, yes.
Is it a tally on the legal fees the town spent on the Vernon Farm issues?
Just on Vernon Family Farm? No, I mean, we know the legal budget is larger than we initially budgeted, mainly because of the variety of issues that have cropped up that were unanticipated but continue to hit the town. I can certainly find out. I'll let you know. Yep. Yeah, we can calculate that. Yep. Any other comments from this point? Yes, Mary.
Well, I haven't been here in a while. I'm just wondering what's going on with the property down Road in my house.
Which one?
Hazel.
Hazel. So the auction was held several months ago. The Loosmans next door purchased the property. They ended up closing a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. Worked it all out. And it's my understanding that they've been addressing certain map issues with the property. Hazel, under the terms of the sheriff's auction, they had a time period to come back and repurchase the property. I don't expect they will.
1 year.
1 year, thank you. 1 year to come back and purchase the property. So I'm sure the Loosmans are looking at that time frame and thinking, okay, we'll do certain things, like there was a tree that had fallen that I think that they addressed. Probably won't do anything major until that year passes, for obvious reasons. But the property is now their property in title, indeed. Any other questions from the public? No? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:07 p.m. Second by Hobie. All in favor?
Aye.